Hey, it's Guido coming at you with a tactics talk. I got a replay analysis here for you. We've got Fatal Gravity sent me in this game in his AMX M449 Liberté Tier 8 French Premium Heavy Tank, one of the new heavy tanks. And he is loaded into fjords here. You know, one time I actually called this fjords in a video and somebody sent me a correction. So I'm now going to call it fjords from now on. Anywho, here we are. He is on top of the leaderboard, which is a good thing. You can see the two teams that have loaded in, and his team is a little light on heavies as compared to the Reds. So the Reds are sitting there in good position with 5. They've got 3. But the good news for the Greens is they've got a couple of fairly large TDs, which can be effective on this map depending on how they're used. So he wanted some help with tactics. Let's get to it. I'll show you what he's doing with his camera here. First time I watched this, it was a little odd. It looks like he's locked his turret straight forward while he drives, which is fine. It's a technique I've not really seen. I've seen people keep the turret pointing forwards for the most part, but not actually militantly locked forward like that. Now this little spot right here, since we're going to go ahead and critique everything, seems like, let's get this going a little bit more so I can zoom out, seems like the fastest way through, but I have seen people fall off of that little cliff. And it's not necessarily faster than coming down that road, cutting left through that little alleyway right there. It's a small thing. But it kind of goes back to map awareness and knowing the best routes forward. So we're going to head through here and let's talk a little bit about positioning on this map of fjords. They have 3 heavies. The enemy has 5. This corner needs to be contested. If the enemy just pushes around and flanks and gets up in here, usually it's a long day for the Greens. If there are a lot of TDs up here and a few guys spotting these buildings, then yes, they can stop a less than determined push through this way, or say only half their heavies went this way. So there are 2 ways to play it: contest it hard or sit back in here. I prefer contest it hard because you can usually beat these guys over here with good play, and relying on your TDs to take fleeting shots on the side here and hit them every time is not really the best move. So when I've got a heavy, I'm going to come right down here. We've got Fatal Gravity moving this way, and that's where I thought he was going. But he's going to end up actually being up in these buildings. Another option with the heavy is to get up in here. Not my favorite. Or you could be the Tiger 2 and slowly climb all the way up to the north, which can be effective. They can be surprised by heavies getting up here, especially slow big ones. But this battle has to hold long enough for all of this mess to get in position. And if you get stalled up here with a big sniping brawl, then you can get in trouble down here if you're overmatched. You can see that the TDs are kind of spreading out in the places you would expect TDs to be. So let's see what Fatal Gravity does. He actually is going to cut across here. So it doesn't look like now that he is interested in going up the hill. Well, maybe he is. Okay, hey, there's some red tanks, so let's get glommed onto them and whack right in the side. That is the danger of exposing yourself in this area right here. That's why all of those tanks are up there, is to take side or rear shots as you attempt to get up this hill. The safer way is to go the long way down here, or potentially cut through here and then immediately up the road. But if they've got good spotting, you can still take a shot in the rear end here, a fleeting shot as you go by. If you come out this close, especially with all of your side armor showing, sniper mode doesn't work like that, especially with all your side armor showing, you're going to expose that weak armor. Remember that the M449 is extremely strong in the front, but has almost no side armor. Had he cut to the right and brought his front armor to bear, they'd have probably bounced all day. He would not be ammo racked, and he would still probably have shots. So be careful, Fatal, about the second you see red tanks just raging forward and looking for a shot. Consider how you position your tank and where you are. And an E25 is going to shoot you twice by the time you zoom in. Just be aware. So he's going to back out, fix, good. We need that ammo rack. Unfortunately, we've just used. There you go, and that's much better. There's a front piece of armor right there. That spot is exposed to Artie. If they have repositioned to over there, they can splash you there. Just some gunnery issues there. We're going to end up missing him. And this is pretty typical of a newer player. He is enamored of what's going on here. These are shots, right? So I see bad guys, so I'm just going to continue to point at bad guys and take shots, and that's fine. Taking a couple out of him. Maybe this T-29 will come up and give you a shot. Ah, very nice. What's going on behind you? Looks like the low and the T-29 are not finding anything. So at this point, probably not a bad decision to stay right where you are. You're getting shots. You got a T-29 being a buffoon. Track him. Nope, you couldn't quite do it. Looks like that's what you were trying to do. And I will say for a 400 to win 8 guy, your reaction to what's going on is pretty good. So unless you're a reroll, goofing with me or something, there is a lot to be said, or a lot of good things that are happening right here initially. You can notice that there's an object 252 coming in behind you. I don't know how much more I would be paying attention to these guys up here. They know you're there. They're probably not going to come around and give you a shot. If they do, it's going to be quite a while from now. And you have an object 252 and now a T-26E5 in the middle. It seems like you have noticed and are now repositioning, so that's excellent. I would say probably a little sooner than that would have been good. You do have to be careful here about exposing your side. It's a good shot. Absolutely move up into those buildings. Give yourself some more cover. You can see that your T-29 and your low have pushed around the corner. And this is kind of a strange example of this map because you've got their tanks all up in your face right here and they've pushed hard. Usually it stagnates a little more than this. Alright, you're going to give your side armor right to the 252. And I'll be honest, I have no idea how on earth you made that shot and pinned that guy. But you did. Good on you. I would probably be a little more aggressive on that 252 than you were. You end up fixing your track. You really need to get rid of him. And your front armor can probably hold up pretty easily unless he pushes 2, and even in that case you might have a good chance of bouncing. And this is one of the things I liked the least about what you did. You just ignored that 252, put him to your rear, and started heading over to an E25. Now obviously the E25 needed to be dealt with at some point, but the 252 has now been isolated cleverly to your 6 o'clock. That's another one. I have no idea how you made that shot, but good on you. Sometimes the replays don't show exactly what you're seeing. Now that'd be because I was actually looking at my view and not yours. And your friends have come in. They're dealing with the 252. Remember, there's still a T-26E5 up on your right. So a little more probably zooming out and looking around, even though you seem to have pretty good SA. And there he is right there, just hit you. So you seem to have pretty good SA overall what's going on by looking at the mini-map. A little third-person gunnery, that's a good skill to have. Backing up and looking, that's good. In general, doing a nice job of moving your tank and keeping the front armor to them, except for a couple breakdowns where you kind of forgot about it. Another shot into that guy, and he's down to 4%. So in general, this game ended up being pretty good for you hanging out in the buildings, but understand that the reason it worked out, and yes, you reacted to the flow of the battle, but understand that this was a slightly different than the meta type flow for this map. So yeah, absolutely react to the flow that is actually happening in front of you, very good, but please don't take from this that you should just get down to those buildings and try to react to the enemy's push, because had they had any kind of clue, they probably would have rolled you guys up. Now we're looking for the T-34. And it's just clean up on aisle 2 at this point. You kind of took the long way. I'd have just headed maybe towards their cap. I would have assumed that that T-34, since he hasn't been seen, is either camping back on cap or is near the cap, and probably I'd have gone this way, straight down this road and around. Let's find out if you actually find them over there or not. You know the Artie's probably over there. We got the old tracking along with our gun locked straight forward again, which is overall a good technique. A lot of times you'll see people driving and they'll look behind them, their turret will turn around and start looking behind them, and then someone will show in front of them and their turret's looking backwards. So it looks like you've got a lot of the kind of little skills that you're going to need, and there's the T-34 right there. Looks like perhaps he's AFK, or maybe he was for most of the battle. I think he actually moves on this, I can't remember. And you've got some interesting ping. Get about a 120, 130, a little bit of stutter going on. Somewhere around 100 ping is too much. More than 100 ping, things become irritating, at least for me. I know there's a lot of people that are very good that run at 300 and such. And it's what you get used to over battles, over a number of battles. That was an interesting choice for me. Why you turned left right there? The guy was right there. I had just driven right off the back edge of that little cliff there and taken him on. Shot him as I went down or rammed him. Looks like he's moving now, so I don't know if he was fighting the whole game or showed up and his team was dead. There you go. Nice job. Little ram. Got some extra damage. And then he dies. Yep. Hey, look at this. More damage. So again, good SA, kind of paying attention to what's around you, getting your gun online quickly. You know, there's not a lot to complain about. A 3,000 damage, 3 kill game. Overall, lots of good stuff to build on. I mean, if you really are a 400 win 8 player so far, then this battle shows that you've got a lot of potential and you're definitely on the right track. All right, hope this helped, man. Take care.